you've been part of the One Piece community for any amount of time, I'm sure you've heard the phrase that Elbaf will be Usopp's arc. Same way that before Wano came out, everyone thought that that would be Zoro's arc, and I'm sure that we'll have a Nami's arc where she navigates her way to Laugh Tale. This makes sense because then each of the original East Blue Straw Hats would have an arc that is specifically tailored that they can call theirs, an arc where they grow more than anyone else. Sanji was first with Whole Cake Island before we even knew that anyone needed more Sanji lore. Zoro had some development in Wano, and even though some may claim that he should have gotten more story moments, it's a fact that Zoro fans were eating good with all the feats he got in this arc. I mean, Roof Piece alone should have been enough, but then he took down a whole first commander. So Elbaf is the obvious choice for Usopp. He's been looking up to the Giants since we met them on Little Garden, and it's only doubled down since we met more Giants on Enies Lobby. But why is this arc his last chance? Well, honestly, it's simple. In the iconic scene where the East Blue Straw Hats place their foot on the barrel and each of them state their dreams, Usopp's is the only one that is subjective. Luffy and Zoro strive for greatness and titles. The king of the pirates and the world's greatest swordsman isn't something you call yourself, it's an accolade the world knows you by. Sanji and Nami have destination dreams. Sanji wants to find the All Blue and Nami wants to chart the world, but Usopp's could technically be finished tomorrow. I want to become a brave warrior of the sea. What does that even mean? Does it mean that he won't run from battles anymore? Or maybe that he'll be strong enough to support Luffy? It's not clear, and it's not supposed to be. Usopp's character has been a wimp since chapter 23 when we first met him. He's used more as comic relief instead of a sniper. And he's a solid sniper, but he wields a slingshot. Sometimes it's hard to take him seriously when we have people like Ben Beckman or Lucky Roo who will blast people's faces off, and then Usopp is still using his Tabasco shot. He's only ever been a fighter when every other possible option is gone. This isn't slingshot hate though. Clearly he's made it this far with his trusty Kabuto, but when does he evolve? This is the question I want to pose today, but more importantly, I have a declaration. Elbaf is Usopp's last arc for him to possibly evolve, or the story will leave him in the dust. So far, Usopp has been a sniper at heart, but because it's hard to write a fight where one person is 50 feet away, Usopp always manages to be in close proximity to his opponents. Because of this, his fighting style has been more about laying traps and trickery instead of true strength. Think about Usopp versus Perona, where he won using a fake hammer. Think about Usopp versus that one fishman with the big lips. He won using ketchup as fake blood. And now, I don't want to take away credit from his victory. He won, and honestly, that's all that matters. But when you think about the king of the pirates' crew, do you think about someone using ketchup as a weapon? No, you think of Rayleigh or Gabon, people with legends big enough to compare themselves to Roger. I know Usopp isn't Rayleigh or Gabon, or honestly Zoro or Sanji, but he has the potential to be. I do want to take a step back though, because I want to give him a little bit of credit. I think he's been brave a few times in the series so far. Little Garden had him fight someone far stronger than him for the first time, and he was able to distract for long enough to break Luffy out of his spell. Alabasta showed him being loyal to Luffy, and Usopp was actually the second Straw Hat to have his own Luffy will be king of the pirates moment. Funnily enough, Usopp's best moment of bravery was fighting Luffy himself in Water 7. It was a dumb thing to do, but for the first time in the entire series to date, Usopp wasn't scared of a battle. I'll throw in Usopp versus Perona, even though it wasn't as much bravery as it was necessity, but still. And that's actually kind of just it. Yes, that's right. Usopp hasn't had a brave moment in battle since post-time skip almost 800 chapters ago. And I don't want to hear a single debate on Usopp and Dressrosa, because it's true he saved the Tentada, but he didn't even really mean to, and he won on sheer luck. His bigger feat in that arc was knocking Sugar out the second time, but we'll actually get into that later. But okay, why Elbaf? As we said before, Usopp has been fawning over Elbaf and the Giants since they first met. The Giants' whole philosophy is pride and strength, so it only makes sense that Usopp would want to copy that. Plus, we can add a few other small things like Elbaf spelled backwards is fable, and Usopp's fables, Aesop's fables. You get the idea, it just kind of clicks. But more importantly, it's because of what we're currently learning in the arc. Scott Gabon, the left wing of Roger, is emphasizing the importance of a strong crew to support their captain. Zoro and Sanji are strong, but even Gabon is saying that they're not living up to the previous king. So how can they? Hockey is being shoved down our throats so much post-time skip that I'm starting to agree with Shanks that devil fruits are overrated. Even Kaido, someone with a mythical Zoan fruit, flat out said that hockey trumps all. And yet on Luffy's crew, only half of the crew has displayed clear usage of hockey. Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Jinbei, and Usopp. Wait, Usopp? Yes, I'm telling you guys, he has the potential for greatness. In Dressrosa, he managed to shoot a bullet and curve it at the exact right time and angle to hit its target from across the country. This is impressive and easily his best feat, but here's the issue. This was 500 chapters ago. Why was this not fleshed out more in Wano? He went 150 chapters without a single ounce of development. Not only that, but he regressed back to being only comic relief with Nami. Except even Nami got a power up with Zeus. There are so many reasons this is dumb, but most primarily it's the fact that Usopp is one of 3 members of the crew whose role is directly tied to combat, and yet he is still a disappointment. Luffy is the captain, fighting comes with the job description. Zoro is a swordsman and first mate, and Usopp is a sniper. Nami is a navigator, and yet she got fighting power up before the sniper of the crew. It sounds crazy to say, but I'm taking Frankie Laser, a Nami Lightning Bolt, or a Zoro Long Distance Slash over anything Usopp can output. Water 7 and Enies Lobby push the agenda of the Straw Hats being a crew. You have to do what you're supposed to do, and the other members will pick up for any slack. Except he's a fraud in his own department. So how can we fix this? Well, as we've said the entire video, Elbaf is the last chance. We're entering the final saga of One Piece, and yet Usopp hasn't had a single shred of development either as a character or a fighter. In Elbaf, we need to see his helplessness. We need to see him struggle to protect something and realize that the way he is now isn't even kind of enough to be on the crew of the King of the Pirates. Haki blooms in battle, but one fight can't make up for 1,000+ chapters of having no haki. Usopp needs to feel despair and realize that right now he is the furthest on the crew from achieving his dream. He made it to the land that he's been awaiting since the beginning, and yet he feels a sense of shame because he's not worthy to live by the words of the giants. Even though he doesn't deserve it, Usopp lucked into having Scopper Gaban on Elbaf, who is currently pointing out the weaknesses of the crew. Their haki is horrible, as we've established only 5 members have ever used it, and one of them has only done it once. Some people theorize that there may be a time skip where Gaban trains each Straw Hat to get them where they need to be, but I don't like this. I think we're too late in the series to be jumping around using time skips, and personally, I think the arc will go on as normal. But the key is time dilation in Elbaf. The time dilation will exponentially increase the amount of training that they can get done in a short amount of time. They'll leave the arc not realizing how much time has actually passed in the outside world and how much development they truly got. Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji will leave as haki masters, while Usopp, Frankie, Robin, and Brook will have the fundamentals. But there's actually 2 things I want to bring up in Usopp's favor. I said he was going to leave the arc with the fundamentals, but actually I think he's going to have a step above the rest. Like him or hate him, we have to put some respect on his name. Usopp is the son of Yasopp, who is the 3rd commander on Shanks' crew, someone who has been shown to have crazy observation haki and sniper capabilities. So I think when Usopp gets a teacher like Gaban, he will pick it up naturally, maybe even realizing that he's been using haki to snipe subconsciously the entire time. This could help cover a plot hole if he jumps in power too much. I hate to say it, but Usopp will be a prodigy. He's going to leave the arc at a similar level to Jinbei, a former warlord who's now just well past his prime. But alright, for one final power-up, I want something that's not haki related. And I think it's perfect for Usopp to leave the arc wielding Ragnir. Now, I didn't come up with this theory, but honestly, it just fits so well, it's perfect. I have to believe it's going to happen. If you don't know, Ragnir is Loki's hammer. It's a special hammer with the capabilities to summon lightning on command, and for whatever reason, even though he's a sniper, we've seen Usopp use hammers time and time again in his most important fights. So wouldn't it be perfect for his final weapon upgrade to be an actual 10-ton hammer? This would be just like the Zeus power that Nami got, except even more personalized towards Usopp. You may ask how he would possibly wield it considering it's as tall and heavy as Loki, but we're introduced to a certain owl in this arc with the power to shrink or grow non-living objects. Obviously this was shown to us to be useful to the Elbaf library, but I think it was just Oda planting seeds. But what do you think? Is this going to be Usopp's last chance to grow? Do you think if he doesn't grow in this arc, will he still have the potential to be a brave warrior of the sea? And do you think he'll be the 4th strongest on the crew by the end of the arc? I don't know, just let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But if you like this content, feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. It really helps me out. And until next time, my name is Danny, aka Floppy. Peace.